Khenpo just popped into my mind how he always chants at the beginning of each teaching to his lineage. I can't chant to my lineage, so I'll bow to all of you. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to start out with a guided meditation. It's a meditation that I learned first from Robert Thurman in his teachings on the Jewel Tree of Tibet. And so if you happen to like this meditation, I invite you to find the videos and also the recordings of Robert Thurman guiding you through the Jewel Tree of Tibet. I've actually taken this meditation and adapted it to include parts of teachings that Khenpo Sherab Sangpo has given us. So you're going to be hearing parts of the lineages or the liturgies that we chant together when we're practicing, included in the guided meditation. If you've never seen a refuge tree before, I'm sure many of you have, I'm going to show you a couple of versions of it. This is the refuge tree for the Longchenpa Teachings, which is the lineage of practices that we practice in. This is a much simplified form of it. It's a picture of Guru Rinpoche in union with his consort Yeshe Tsogyal. And this is also another form of a refuge tree that I created for Khenpo Sherab Sangpo, which are actual images of his practices that he does along with his root teachers. But however this lineage tree pops up in your mind today, however it arises, I invite you to just stay with that and use this guided meditation as a way of looking at the clarity of your mind, as the ability of your mind to embrace whatever arises. And as I guide you through the meditation, just stay with that clarity, vividly being in the presence of whatever's arising. And also try to take the words and feel the energy of being in the presence of this refuge tree as much as you can. So however it arises for you today, that's your refuge tree. And I invite you not to judge it or to get into a battle with what should arise or what shouldn't. Just be in the presence of what's arising for you. So adjust your body. Get into a comfortable meditation posture, however that is for you. Straighten your spine as much as you can. That helps the channels in your body to open up so that your mind can relax and stay calm. And then recall to mind the advice that Patrul Rinpoche gives that makes sure that your body is on the cushion. Make sure that your mind is in your body. And invite peacefulness into your heart. Invite peacefulness into your mind as you meditate. And I'm going to call out a few words, key words, as we move from section to section. So the first key word is guru. Recall your kind root teacher, who is the embodiment of wisdom, love, and power of all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And place your guru, your teacher, on the crown of your head, in your heart chakra, or in the space before you. However your root teacher arises for you, be with that. Invite them there and feel his or her compassionate presence. Parents and guests. Recall the kindness of your parents or anyone who nurtured you so that you could be here today. With this, open your sacred circle and invite your friends, your family, and anyone who would benefit from the energy of love, compassion, and joy to arrive into your meditation. Ask them to meditate with you and invite them to be seated. Notice who is arriving. Just let be and know that all of your guests will find their place in your sacred circle. Bodhichitta. In the presence of your kind teacher and your guests, generate bodhicitta. Determine to practice today to benefit not only yourself, but all living beings. All living beings have been your mothers. Remember the kindness of your mothers. Recall that like you, they only wish for happiness. But like you, they have also experienced many sufferings. Due to not knowing the causes of lasting happiness, your mothers and you have been coming and going in infinite circles together. Recall the words of Shantideva and think to yourself, I myself will generate the enlightenment mind in this very moment and resolve to bring boundless multitudes of beings easily to supreme joy. Remember your bodhisattva vows if you have them. If you don't worry. Just feel a sense of joy in opening your heart and resolving to be a cause for happiness in this world. The four thoughts. Recall the four thoughts that turn your mind towards the Dharma. Briefly recall how precious this human life is with its freedoms and endowments. Recall how the appearances of this life are fleeting like dreams. Remember that everything is impermanent, constantly changing, and that we never know when death will arrive. Recall that all of our actions of body, speech, and mind radiate out from us like waves of interconnected energy. Reflect on the natural law of karma and ask yourself, what energy would I share with the entire world if I really knew that I was going to be infinitely interconnected with all living beings? Remembering the suffering of actions that are solely motivated by self-obsession, recall how samsara is an endless wheel of attachment, aversion, and ingress. Recalling those four thoughts, turn your mind towards your Buddha nature. Kind teacher, living beings, refresh your visualization of your kind teacher and all the sentient beings in your sacred circle. Use their presence to generate a stronger wish towards developing a kind heart, genuine warm-heartedness. Mentally ask them to support you in doing this. Feel the joy that they have, that you are being gentle with yourself, kind to yourself, gentle with them, kind to them, and that you are generating an energy field of kindness. Feel the joy of being interconnected. Expand your circle of joy. Out of your great joy arises a beautiful jewel tree. It has many branches, so many branches that it can accommodate all of the spiritual wisdom traditions in this universe. Teachers from all of these traditions are arriving. And you ask these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to join you in your sacred circle. You may see Guru Rinpoche and Yeshe Tsogyal arrive, Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion, or any other Buddha of compassion, Kuan Yin, maybe His Holiness the Dalai Lama. You might see the root teachers of Khenpo Sherab Sangpo arrive, Kenshin Pema Tsewang, Khenpo Chuchap, Dilgo Chunsi Rinpoche, and the others. You might see Jan and Andy arrive. Invite your meditational deities to arrive. White Tara, Vajrasattva, Manjushri, and Iyidam, with whom you have a close connection. And again, you may have teachers from other great spiritual traditions arrive. Mother Mary, Krishna, Moses, whatever teachers with whom you have a connection. Invite them to arrive and be seated in the refuge tree. See all of them smiling at you. See all of them smiling at each other. Radiating joy, enjoying that you are all spending time together generating love and compassion and joy in this world. Feel that they know everything about you, yet love you unconditionally. Feel their vivid, compassionate presence. Seven-limb prayer. Offer the seven-limb prayer. Mentally offer prostrations with your body, speech, and mind to all of the great teachers who have come to support your meditation. Present them with offerings of everything that is precious to you. Feel that their presence helps you to purify all of your delusions, all of your attachments, all of your anger, all of your ignorance. Rejoice in the pure activities of all living beings. And ask the teachers to remain and teach you and all living beings until complete enlightenment. Request that their wisdom and compassion be with you at all times. And dedicate the merit of your prayer to benefit all living beings. See the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas smile at you with great joy. So happy that you are practicing. So happy that they are connected with you today. Blessings. Enjoy the energy of all these teachers and ask them to bless you and all living beings who are meditating with you. The teachers, hearing your request, smile and respond with rays of light emerging. White light emerges out of their forehead, and these white rays of light merge into your forehead. And as they do, they bless you and bless your body. Red rays of light emerge from their throats, entering your throat. And as they do, these rays of light bless your speech. Blue rays of light emerge from their hearts and enter your heart. And as they do, they bless your mind. Then the combined blessings of these white, red, and blue rays emerge as rainbow tiglis, as rainbow spears of light. They emerge out of every pore of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas' bodies, and they emerge into every pore of your body. The Buddhas are so happy at this that they start glowing even more strongly with rays of light, of rainbow light in every color, emerging in all the 10 directions. All of these rays of light bless everyone who is in your sacred circle. And the blessings of these rays of light continue to bless everyone and all beings in this universe of 10 directions. Everyone, everything is transformed into rainbow light, appearing yet empty of inherent existence. The gurus dissolve into your kind root teacher. Your kind root teacher dissolves into the opening at the crown of your chakra, at the top of your head. The energy of blessings travels down into your heart center, and there you can rest. Feel the blessings in your heart center and rest. Remember your guests who have come with you to meditate. Thank them for coming. Thank them for being connected with you. Invite them to return home to their natural abodes. Anything that remains of your visualization, let it go. Let it all dissolve naturally. And rest. Okay, that's the guided meditation. Thank you for spending time with me in meditation. It always feels wonderful. The energy of group meditation is so powerful, and so I bow to all of you. I really thank you for it. I wanted to start out today with that guided meditation because my topic today is on the Four Measurables. And the Four Measurables is a prayer that all of us have prayed together so many times. It's also one of my favorite prayers. If I hear that someone is ill or someone is suffering, usually what automatically comes to my mind either is the Tara mantra, Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha, or the prayer of the four boundless qualities, the Four Measurables. Because it always seems to me, what more could you wish people than, boundless love, boundless compassion, boundless joy, and boundless equanimity. I mean, it really sums up in one prayer what all of us are seeking in life for ourselves, and also what we're really hoping to be able to give to others. And so when Khenpo asked me to teach while he was in Asia, I said to him pretty quickly, is it okay if I would teach on the Four Measurables? Because I always like to teach on something that I actually practice, that I feel like I have some experience with. And so that's what I'd like to teach today. There are so many teachings on the Four Measurables. While I was preparing this teaching, I encountered many of them. Khandra Rinpoche has especially beautiful teachings on the Four Measurables, so I invite you to look for her videos and also for her PDFs that are available on the web. There are many, many other teachers. Just Google Four Measurables and you will be overwhelmed with fabulous teachings and videos. But I'm going to focus on some teachings that I read from Longchenpa, who is a 14th century great Dzogchen master, great teacher. He was also, in my mind, wrote some of the most amazing Buddhist poetry, and his teachings are just boundless. So if we're going to try to connect with boundless energy, I really wanted to introduce you to Longchenpa's teachings. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. And if you want to read these teachings yourself, they are in Volume 1 of Kindly Bent to Ease Us, which is the Part 1 on Mind. And they start around page 113, 114. This is a translation by Herbert Gunter, and I bow to all of the great translators who have made Longchenpa and others available to us in English. But I also find sometimes Gunter's translation a little bit difficult to slog through. So I've reworded some of the translations based on my own meditational experience, and I really ask Gunter to pardon me if I've made any errors, and certainly ask Longchenpa to pardon me if I've made any errors. So what are the Four Measurables? The Four Measurables are love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. With love being the wish that all living beings may experience true happiness and its causes. So that's the definition of love. With compassion being the wish that all living beings may be free from suffering and its causes. And joy is the vivid wish that beings remain happy, not only in temporal ways, but that they're never parted from sublime bliss, which is a reference to the ultimate nature of reality, the ultimate Buddha nature, so that they're never parted from their Bodhichitta, from their Buddha nature. And then the last one is equanimity, which is the wish that beings may be free from an attitude of partiality. And an attitude of partiality is that we would have attachment to some living beings and have aversion to others. So Longchenpa, I think, very, very wisely advises that beginners like us, when we want to actually practice the meditation of the four boundless qualities, is that we start with a meditation on equanimity. Because without equanimity, our other wishes of love, compassion, and joy will only yield samsaric results. And samsaric results come from our fundamental ignorance of being partial, usually to primarily ourselves. So our fundamental ignorance of not recognizing our own lack of inherent existence. So our attachment to self. And of course, out of our attachment to self and not recognizing our fundamental lack of inherent existence also arises then objects. So we're splitting the reality between subjects and objects. And of course, some of the objects that arise based on us forming this concept of self-attachment are again ones that we're not too happy with. So we try to push them away with aversion. And other objects that arise, we really, really like them. more than anything else. And so we want more of them and pull them to us with great attachment. And then some objects, maybe like our postman or the person at the grocery store, we're kind of indifferent to. We don't even make a connection with them. And therefore we're ignorant about them or don't even have any awareness of them. And so that's the third poison, which is ignorance. So essentially, out of our fundamental creation of self, we create objects and then get caught in the push-pull of samsaric life. And so Longchenpa says, the medicine that I offer you is that deeply contemplate equanimity, because that will radically cut through the source of your suffering. And so the first advice that he gives in the section on the Four Measurables is to cultivate equanimity. And he has a beautiful phrase that he says. He says, Longchenpa writes that we're to cultivate a mind filled with Bodhichitta. And this is the quote by him: by letting the flower of compassion blossom in the soil of love, and tending it with the pure water of equanimity in the cool shade of joyfulness, spontaneous joy will arise, great bliss will arise, awareness will arise. And so he says to us that the source of our compassion, the source of our love, and the source of joy is equanimity, great spaciousness. And so that is the first aspect of the Four Measurables that he asks us to contemplate and deeply. So although the traditional order of the four is love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, when we begin to practice this in meditation, the first verse that we may want to contemplate is the verse on equanimity. Why is equanimity the heart of the practice of bodhicitta? Because it's only by embracing this heart of equanimity are we also actually really able to embrace the true nature of reality. So the true nature of reality is the capacity of our mind that you recognized when you were doing the guided meditation, of that everything can arise within clarity within your mind. This capacity of the mind, of when you keep an open mind and an open heart, of everything to arise, is your ability to connect with it, is your ability to actually be present with whatever's arising, with awareness. So that equanimity that you practice on a relative level by cultivating it with the object of all living beings and wishing them love, wishing them compassion, wishing them joy, is actually a relative practice that reflects the absolute or the ultimate nature of your own mind, of your own bodhicitta. So Longchenpa's great wisdom in his teachings is to always bring the relative and the ultimate in union together and teach them very close together. So according to Longchenpa, our objects of meditation, when we're cultivating the Four Measurables or meditating on it, are, to quote him, all living beings who are unhappy and tormented by frustrations, or engrossed in their happiness and wealth, or who are deeply attached to or bitterly set against anyone, be they near or far. Those are our objects of love, compassion, joyfulness, and equanimity. So that pretty much sums up almost everyone, I think. So we can, when we cultivate equanimity, we can include in our meditation all people who we consider friends, all people who we consider foes, and also neutral persons. To cultivate an equal attitude of bodhicitta for all, Longchenpa asks us to meditate upon them. And again, I'll read to you from him. In the cycle of existence that has neither beginning nor end, even this my enemy has once been my father and mother and has added to my well-being and prosperity. Can I harbor malice to repay his or her kindness? Even this my friend here has been my enemy and has done me harm. Even now as I am subject to the misery he has brought about, how could it be reasonable to pay him back with his own coin? Even neutral persons have been friends and enemies. As there is no certainty as to prosperity or harm, attachment and hatred are unreasonable. Therefore, first you have to give up being attached to those who are your friends, and you have to treat them as neutral. Then you have to give up being hateful to your enemies, and you have to treat them too as neutral, annulling the distinction between those near and far. So the first set of practical advice is, who are the objects that we cultivate in our meditation of the Four Measurables on love, compassion, and joy? Everyone, all living beings. Why are we doing that? Because we remember the teaching on the mothers and fathers, on the teachings that friends have been enemies in the past. Enemies who currently are enemies could become friends if we knew them better. People who are neutral might come close to us. They might have been our mothers in the past. What you do is you start moving these categories and loosening up these categories of friend, foe, and neutral people in your mind until a real sense of equanimity towards all of them arises. And that's the first step. So we could actually spend time doing that now in meditation for about 5 minutes. And you've already done this a little bit of creating your sacred circle and inviting people to show up. And now, consciously, when we meditate on this for 5 minutes, again, think about people coming to meditate with you and try to equalize your feeling of love and compassion and kindness towards all of them and see how that feels. So let's sit and do that for about 5 minutes. So the experience of equalizing self with other is radically freeing. It's tremendously, tremendously beneficial. You can just feel your whole body relax. You can feel your mind relax. You can feel a deep sense of space open up and peace. And this is because Longchenpa says that when the mind no longer needs to oscillate between near and far, between pulling and pushing, then the mind is free from attachment and hatred. So this awakening to great equanimity is the gateway to freedom in his teachings. And he then asks you to radically expand this. And the way that he says this is amazing. He says, thinking in this way, move on in contemplation from one being to two, to three, to one country, to one continent, to the four continents, and from 1 to 3,000 worlds to all worlds. And that's how his profound opening of this equanimity just expands into these boundless, boundless, boundless beings. So we do this, and this is something that you're going to have to take time to do at home, because obviously in 5 minutes of meditation it may not arise, and that's okay. But I want to present to you his big view, because it's so beautiful. So then we can ask ourselves, how do we know if our practice is bearing profound fruit? How do we know if we're really giving rise to genuine bodhicitta? And Longchenpa answers this in his text. He says, the measure of your cultivation is to see yourself and others, friends and enemies, as being alike. It's as simple as that. So when this starts happening for you, then you know that your practice is bearing fruit. So this is relative bodhicitta, and this is what we first need to do. We need to work with the relative objects of our mind, work with living beings. But this cultivation of equanimity on the relative level, again, Longchenpa very masterfully in his text connects with the cultivation and the realization of ultimate bodhicitta. And so then very quickly in the text, in the next stanza, he says, afterwards, you can move on to non-referential equanimity, or objectless equanimity. Everything in mind, and this being mind as such, is like the spacious sky. Let your mind, free from all propositions about it, settle in the sphere that in the ultimate sense has never come into existence and is utterly open. So as I was talking about to some of you before we started today about the Mahamudra retreat with Khenpo Kunka, Longchenpa moves pretty quickly from, contemplating all sentient beings, this is that mudra that Khenpo Kunka showed us, to moving into contemplating equanimity for all sentient beings. And then at some point he just drops everything and wants us to rest in spaciousness. So that when we drop the duality between outer and inner and let go, all that remains is this incredible fresh state of openness, open awareness. And so that is how Longchenpa in this text combines the use of cultivating relative bodhicitta with the awareness of its inherent union with ultimate bodhicitta. And it's really very, very profound. So grasping at concepts such as friend or foe prevents the mind from resting in its natural spaciousness, what Longchenpa calls the open sphere, free from all propositions. And it's like Khenpo Kunka introduced us. When we turn our mind outwardly and then turn our minds inwardly and then just let go, that's what we have to rest in. So the letting go of duality of outer and inner allows us to recognize the nature of mind, something that is beyond propositions, beyond concepts, and beyond descriptions, beyond words. So we can't do this if we're busy dissecting up this room or anything in the universe into human beings or objects that are garbage, and human beings and objects that are roses, to refer to one of my favorite teachings from Thich Nhat Hanh. Because Thich Nhat Hanh and so many of these great masters have shown us the interbeing and the interconnectedness of everything. So in their teachings, for example, the garbage has the rose, and the rose is the garbage. Or if you don't like the word garbage, you can say the compost is the rose and the rose is the compost. And that is one of the things that in this meditation on the Four Measurables, we are cultivating a connection with this interbeing, with this sense of no boundary. And that is really the beauty of this teaching. So today we've kind of covered equanimity as the gateway into the Four Measurables. And then next time when we meet, we'll look at love, compassion, and joy, because there are obviously beautiful teachings on that as well. But that's all we have time for today. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and for meditating together. And now I'd like to invite you to recite the Melody of Immortality, which is the long life prayer for Khenpo, Sherab, Sangpo. And then we'll go into our closing prayers. So the Melody of Immortality, a prayer for longevity. Shri, in the divine mandala, where all that appears and exists is utterly pure, you, the sovereign of all the Buddha families and teacher of the Tantras, mature and liberate the three gates into their Vajra. Vajra King, may you ever remain. Within the Vajra body, you reveal the mandala of the great bliss of the indestructible three secrets. Most supreme of the Lord of Vajra Chaminth, Vajra Master, may you remain for 100 eons. Through the effortless path, you directly reveal unchanging self-awareness, the basic space of great bliss. Caring for the profound key instructions of perfection, glorious Guru, may you remain until the end of existence. Precious successor to the Gurus of the three lineages, may you remain throughout the three times in Vajra form, forever hoisting the great banner of the Dharma of the three lineages throughout the three realms. And we'll do our closing prayers. The closing prayers are on the back of the page with the photo of Buddha Shakyamuni. The prayer of Bodhichitta we'll recite 3 times, but let's start with the aspiration prayer by Jumapam. May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the flawless mindset of altruism, working for the welfare of others on a vast scale. Through this very merit of mine, may every single sentient being eliminate all forms of negativity and practice virtue forevermore. May Supreme Precious Bodhichitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. May Supreme Precious Bodhichitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. May Supreme Precious Bodhichitta take birth where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it never wane, but continue to grow forevermore. Prayer of the 6 Continuous Aspirations by Longchenpa. May I in all my lives, no matter where I am born, obtain the 7 qualities of the upper realms of existence. May I meet the Dharma immediately after taking birth, and have the freedom to practice perfectly. May I please the sublime Gurus, and day and night dedicate myself to the Dharma. By realizing the Dharma and practicing its innermost essence, may I cross the ocean of conditioned existence in this very life. May I teach the sublime Dharma perfectly, and never become weary and tired of benefiting others in samsara. by my own impartial and all-encompassing activities to benefit others, may all attain enlightenment together. So the third supreme method is to dedicate all of the merit, giving it all away. And if you can dedicate it in a way that actually merges the three spheres into one, those three spheres being no subject, no object, and no action, then you're dedicating in a way as Samantabhadra did. Vast amounts of dedication. And also you're realizing the equanimity that Longchenpa really is talking about. And so take great joy in that. Even if we don't have the capability right now at this moment to do that, it's there. These teachings still exist in our world, which is incredible. And through the power of interbeing, by our aspirations prayers, those things can arise. Everything has come to be based on interconnectedness. So these aspiration prayers that we do are really amazing. And so think about also, if at your home practice, think about your own aspirations for your practice. And before you do the closing prayers at home, add in your own aspirations, because that's really how things happen, through this chain of great interbeing, this great interconnection. And so whenever I think about that, I'm so grateful that these teachings are here, because that's what makes everything possible, for everything to consciously arise in our life, which is so wonderful when we're aware consciously with gratitude and joy. Wow, this is all here. I'm so grateful for it. So I'm feeling a lot of joy and gratitude right now that you have all arisen today. And thank you so much. I just appreciate it. Next week, like I said, we'll continue with the first three, which is love, compassion, and joy. So if you can come back, please join us. But anyway, I bow to you. What? Does anybody have any questions? If I can answer them, I will. The name of the book it's the first book of a 3-part series called Kindly Bent to Ease Us. Bent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I told Martine the joke the other day. This was sitting on my desk, and I walked by it, and I for whatever reason, my mind said, hell bent against us. And I was like, that can't be right. No, it's kindly bent to ease us, not hell bent against us. Does anybody want to share anything? I'm sorry that I didn't leave enough time for sharing or for questions.
It's very happy to be here.
Oh, good. Good to see you, Lori. Any other wishes, shares, questions? If not, okay, let's go.